Hey everybody, James W. Falcon here for this final segment in this series, Inspiration Management. I want to finish on a very powerful note. Not that I believe any of the other previous segments were less powerful, but this piece is the breadwinner, the moneymaker in terms of the significance, because this is how you take that great idea and how you manage it through a process so that it becomes life. The idea, becomes personified. And I'm going to talk to you about that process in this segment. So talking about the process, I want to leave you with a few keywords, and I'm going to use some alliteration to get the point across. We've talked to you about the capture process already. I talked to you about that in the last segment with using the tools, appropriate tools, to make sure you have the big enough bucket. Remember, the pencil, the pen, the writing, having something to write with and on. So that capture process, so you can record what inspiration wants to gift you with. But then there's also a conveying. So after you've initially captured what inspiration wants to gift you with, wants to give you, then there should be some kind of a process where it goes through a filter, a handling, a massaging of some sort into some final stages. For example, with me, I've used, again, notepads in the various cell phones I've had. I typically keep something to write with and on, always near, so I'm never caught without it, or I'm never in a place where it's so precarious I can't reach for it and grab it, right? Talk to you about that, right? But also what I do is, for poems, for example, I have a specific cache in a few folders on my laptop. And that cache also is a repository of sorts that I take my preliminary notation process, recording process, and I ultimately move it into a particular folder on that hard drive, on that laptop. That folder, that cache there on that laptop serves as my Bible of poetry in the works. A few things that's important to know. It helps in the memorizing and the developing and the bringing into fruition process for you to handle your inspiration through a process and in stages. I'll say it again. It helps in the memorization and then developing process for you to handle your inspiration through a process of multiple stages. It just helps in the memorization process and in the familiarity process of anything you do. I learned that way back when. But it also helps so that you can move inspiration forward. Inspiration is a gift. We talked about that, right? But you don't want to just write it down and do nothing with it. That's not the point. You want to write it down and be purposeful enough to use it, to take it to the next steps and stages. So for me, when my poems go from the initial repository process into that cache, that folder on my laptop, then what I do is, here's another part, I revisit that folder often. So I talked to you about the capture and convey. You get it, you put it down somewhere, and then you move it to somewhere else. But I want to also talk to you about the recording process and then the review process. There's recording and review. Continue to go back to that cache. In my case, I have a central folder. That folder is duplicated on a thumb drive. So if I can't get to, watch this, if I can't get to my laptop, I have a thumb drive that I always carry in one of my pants pockets or in the satchel that I'm carrying, my bag, where it's there so I can access. I can pop that in at work or in the library or wherever I am, at a friend's house if necessary. If I don't have my laptop, I'll have the thumb drive with that folder. So I've made sure, and I am religious about keeping the thumb drive's files as up to date as the original source in that cache on my laptop. The point here is that I revisit that folder multiple times And I am looking always in there because I'll take the title that I was given and I'll let inspiration finish. Or I'll just simply work extra hard in coming up with the missing elements. I am never without something to write with or about poetry-wise. Right now, today, I have a cache of some 30 to 40 pieces of poems that I can jump into at any point in time. Finish the developing process. Finish listening to inspiration so that I can take those things to the very next stages. James W. Falcon here with inspiration management and completion of yet another segment. Stay with me because there's more on this whole topic to come called the process. The process shall be continued. Until next time, we'll see you then.